Bruh. What is up, guys? CJ from Team Millennium Ninja back this week with the penultimate episode of part 6. Holy shit, this episode was amazing. I don't know how else to describe it besides saying it surpassed all of my expectations. From the plot itself subverting basically everything we thought we knew about Tomoe up to this point, to the awesome action and amazing character writing, topped off with some great fan service to boot. And I can't wait to talk about it, so let's just dive right in. The episode picks up right where last week's left off, with Lupin, Jigen, and Goemon meeting up with Zenigata, which is great because the way the episode ended last time, I thought they were just gonna drive past him like usual. But they actually stop and talk to him, where he tells them that he's there chasing after Matea, finally revealing to Lupin Matea's true nature. Which is something that I thought about last week, how Lupin still didn't know about Matea, and I liked his denial when Pops was trying to tell him. But once Pops plays Ari's recording for him, something that I had kind of forgotten about up until now, Lupin has no choice but to believe him. Unfortunately though, there's no real time to dwell on it, as at the end Ari says a code phrase that activates Lupin like a sleeper agent, causing him to try to leave to find Tomoe, with Pops trying to stop him, provoking Lupin to insert the tip of his Walther snugly between the cheeks of Pops' butt chin and pull the fucking trigger. Luckily, Pops was able to pull away fast enough to avoid getting brain blasted harder than Jimmy Neutron, but Lupin also turns his gun on Jigen and Goemon, starting a crazy 3-on-1 brawl with them and Pops, which was absolutely spectacular and had me on the edge of my seat. Seeing Jigen and Goemon work with Zenigata was awesome, and Lupin goes into total badass mode here, with the three of them barely able to stop him, when Matea shows up to give Lupin some backup, which I thought was interesting. Going into this, I figured she would have tried to kill Lupin, since she seems to only be killing people that were mentored by Tomoe, but once she explains that she wants to kill Tomoe instead, it makes sense. Sending Lupin off to find her while she holds off the other three, before eventually escaping herself, and just what a way to kick off an episode. Now, a couple things that I want to talk about in the fight scene before I move on, like Zenigata whipping out the rope cuffs for maybe the first time in this part. Not 100% sure on that, but it definitely feels like it's been a while since we've seen them, so I was really hyped when he used them on Lupin. Another thing is when Matea disassembles Pop's gun in like 0.03 seconds, which I thought was freaking badass. Also, when Goemon goes to attack Matea, they show him turn his sword around, which it's an unnecessary little detail, but I'm glad they put the effort into it, since that's not always the case. And the last thing I want to mention is Matea throwing a knife into Lupin's car door, as I'm going to mention it in a point later on. After that, we get flashes of Lupin inside his mind, seeing a metaphysical version of his brainwashing from Tomoe. Something cool about these scenes is that you could tell it's in Lupin's mind from Jigen's hat and Goemon's sword being there, but also with all the cards as a callback to the gag from earlier in the season where whoever lost at cards had to cook, and I thought that was pretty clever. Lupin also seems to be struggling with his brainwashing a little bit. We see parts in between him driving where he's not looking so hot. And another little detail that I thought was really cool was the device Lupin had in his car that could change the traffic lights. It's a little thing that has no effect on the plot, but I just thought it was a cool device and something that Lupin would actually have. Catching up with Jigen and Goemon though, they're trying to get some help tracking down Lupin, and as it turns out, the person offering them help is the professor himself, James Moriarty. And unfortunately, we don't see how he helped Jigen and Goemon in this episode, but I'm hoping in the next episode he has a little more to do with things other than just telling them where Lupin is. Otherwise, I just don't see the point of bringing him back like this, other than just to say, hey, remember this guy? He still exists. And after Jigen and Goemon's meeting with James, we get a scene with Fujiko and Lupin where Fujiko's trying to pull him back from his brainwashing, but Lupin's completely unresponsive, going so far as to not even react at all when she's kissing him. And there's a line in here where Fujiko asks if he really doesn't trust her, and Lupin says, after all the betrayals, which is some real king shit. I really like seeing their dynamic flip like this, especially Fujiko's reaction to it when she meets up with Jigen and Goemon at one of their hideouts, where they find out Lupin's already left, looking in the garage, making note that he took the SSK. And now, unfortunately, I didn't record my reaction to the scene, so instead here's a dramatic reenactment. This also brings up a point I want to make where, if you'll recall, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode Matea throws a knife into Lupin's car to track him. But Lupin's changed cars since then, so how does Matea find him and Tomoe at the end of the episode? And if it's completely unrelated to the knife thing, then why even have that in there? Just a small nitpick in an otherwise amazing episode though. Zenigata got a decent bit of shine in this episode with the stuff at the beginning, but also throughout as he tries to get information out of Mercedes, ultimately finding out where Tomoe is thanks to her. But now getting to the thing that we've been waiting all season for, Lupin meeting with Tomoe, who the years have not been kind to, apparently. And I have a sneaking suspicion this might not actually be her, but I don't have anything to actually back it up, besides the fact that this is anime, and usually I don't change characters' appearances that much, even when they age. Other than that though, she seems to be the real deal, talking to Lupin about the past, and explaining how she set everything up and her reasons for it. Explaining that every girl that we've run into throughout this season has been tutored by her with the express purpose of telling Lupin the code phrase in multiple languages. As her indoctrination didn't work on him as a kid, supposedly because Lupin can speak multiple different languages, and so he basically has different personalities for each language. It's not really different personalities, but that's the best way that I can paraphrase things and still keep this brief. She also reveals that she really is his biological mother, which we basically already knew at this point, and while they're talking, Matea shows up and tells Tomoe to explain everything before she kills her. And as Lupin steps in front of Tomoe, Matea shoots him through the chest with like a 50 caliber round or something like that as he goes flying through the freaking window. What a tragic end to our favorite master thief. Taken away too soon. Now, after Lupin's really for real death, Tomoe explains everything to Matea, including that she's Lupin's biological mother, in a pretty calm and collected tone considering her son just got murdered right in front of her. It seems like at the very least she'd be a little upset that all her work was for nothing, but with Matea holding her at gunpoint, I guess she'll see Lupin again soon enough anyway. Really soon, as Lupin returns from behind Matea and it turns out he's still alive! Oh my God, what a twist! And with that insanely unpredictable and completely original twist, this episode comes to an end. And what a roller coaster of an episode. I mean, from the action-packed beginning to the mysterious and suspenseful second act to the crazy twist ending. This episode had it all, and I don't know how they're gonna top themselves, but hopefully they do, as the big finale is next week. I'm so excited for it, and I hope you guys will be there with me. Make sure you subscribe so you are, and this has been CJ from Team Millennium Ninja, headed back to the village, hidden in the internet.